What's up, Reds? Welcome to the live team news reaction. I'm your host, Kyle from Nothing But Reds, and with me is Jack Gill of the Anfield Agenda and Redman TV and all over the place, man. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Are you?
I'm doing fantastic, bro. You pumped for this match?
Yeah, I'm absolutely. Well, I say yeah loosely. We're playing bottom of the league, but I'm not confident watching Liverpool at the moment. But Sheffield United pretty injury hit and suspension hit at the moment. I'm really hoping that this Liverpool side can turn it around today. Going into the Chelsea game, it'd be a massive, massive boost to get 3 points this weekend.
I know it. I know it. It's weird. Sheffield United have 8 players out. I didn't know that until I was doing the review on my channel this morning. But
Yeah,
8 players out, that's a big hit for them, especially because they don't really have that dynamo, that game changer. You know, they rely on a whole healthy first team to really do the work to just keep them in games because they're having a rough season.
yeah, they absolutely are. They've really struggled this season. A lot of people, a lot of teams struggle with the second season in the Premier League. As you say, their first 11 is well equipped, and as we saw from last season, the way they play really suited them in the Premier League, and they did really, really well. But like everyone this season, they've struggled with injuries. Things haven't been going right for them. Their form in front of goal has been very, very poor. But it looks like we're playing Sheffield United at a very, very good time. Their back line is going to be a mess today. It's been really, really hit with injuries like ours. It's the best time to play them, and it'd be so good to, put a few goals past them today and really, really go into that Chelsea game high on confidence and hoping that we've turned this blip that we've had at the start of 2021 around.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, man. We need to go into this game and just attack, right? We shouldn't go into this game with the mindset like it's Sheffield. They have 8 players out. They're in shambles. We don't really have to go all out. We need to, because you're right. We can build on it. If we get this 3 points today, dare I say 3 points on current form, but if we get those 3 points today, I mean, that's going to go a long way, exactly like you said, into the Chelsea match. Now, just want to say what's up to everyone in the chat. Leave your lineup predictions in the chat as we build up to the team news reaction here. And Steve couldn't be here today. Awesome gamer. So we got Jack, hell of a replacement if I do say so myself. And so let's talk about the last time we played them, right? We were talking about this a little bit before, Jack, but Gomez and Fabinho parting each other at the back with the standard guys out wide, Alexander and Robbo. We played a 4-2-3-1 though. And listen to this. We had Gini and Hendo, and then the front four of your dreams, Jota, Firmino, Mane, and Salah. I mean, and we were still, 2-1. Granted, there was that horrible penalty call on Fabinho. What's your take on that last match and then the differences going into this one?
Well, it was difficult, wasn't it? Because Sheffield United were in a pretty bad run at the time, as they have been for most of the season. They got that ludicrous penalty decision, and that seemed to set the tone of the game. We know that Sheffield United are a side that when they've got a strong side out, they're hard to break down. And it just took a while for us to be able to break them down. But once we did, we had multiple opportunities, and we came away with a comfortable victory. But it was just initially breaking them down. I feel like we might have that trouble at the start of the game today, but I'm feeling confident, mate. Let me rephrase that. I'm feeling as confident as us Liverpool fans can do.
Right.
But I'm hoping for a 2-0 win today. That's what I'm hoping for.
I think that would be solid. I really do. Clean sheet at Bramall Lane. We struggled last season with the 1-0. Dean Henderson with the mistake, but of course, credit to Gini for putting the shot on target. I'm on the same page as you. Like, I'm confident going in. What I'm more worried about is the lineup itself. Like because we do have players that are technically available now. They've been back in training, but the question remains: does Klopp throw them in? Right? For all I know, I've seen this before. Klopp's going to start Ox, Jones, and Wijnaldum in the midfield or something. Just something crazy with Shaqiri. You know what I mean? And I don't think we should play down to this team, even though we may be confident going in. What do you think about that?
It's an interesting one. We saw Jota back in training midweek. I believe Neil Jones has put a tweet out saying that he's not in the squad today, and neither is Fabinho or Alisson. Big misses there. There's a lot more to life than football. I saw a lot of things in midweek going, we're going to be screwed without Alisson, blah, blah, blah. His dad's just died. I didn't expect him to be in the squad today. And I think we're equipped enough to beat the Sheffield United side even without Alisson, and he needs to take as much time off as he needs to,
Right. Yeah.
mourn the loss of his father. Jota as well. I was hoping to see him on the bench today, but clearly he's not quite ready. I'd love to see Naby. I really would today. Him and Thiago starting together in a midfield three, I think would just be outstanding to see with Gini, hopefully. But saying that, I think Curtis Jones is in the form of his career at the moment. He's undroppable at the moment, so it'd be hard to not see him in the squad. In the starting 11. And then obviously the front three, who I think all need to get back in goal scoring form. It'd be nice to see them. As for the back four, I'd like to see Ben Davies and Kabak. I really would. But Nat Phillips was outstanding against Everton, and I think we'll probably see him alongside Kabak for this one.
Yeah, and Nat Phillips, it's hard for me to say he's put a foot wrong. Like every time he's come in, he's been outstanding. But there's got to be a reason why Klopp doesn't trust him as much as, like, he started Kabak every game since Kabak's been here. He's obviously seen something in Kabak that he doesn't see in Nat Phillips. But I completely agree with your take. I would love to see Keita get some playing time today. And for the love of God, stay healthy. For the love of God, not get injured.
That's the thing. Whenever we see Naby in a Liverpool shirt, he puts in consistently good performances. It's just getting a string of performances in him, because at the minute we see Naby Keita for a few games, then there's an injury, and it's frustrating us. It's frustrating the hell out of us, like Joel Matip. And I feel like, with this injury, it was one of those where Liverpool say it's a minor muscle injury. And we expect to not see him for a couple of weeks, but it's been ages since we've seen Naby Keita. That he's done extra work in the gym. We've really been working hard on him to cut out these little niggling injuries. And hopefully we see a consistent Naby Keita from now until the end of the season, where he can stay fully fit, performing at the top of his game, and he will be a very, very important player for us when pushing for that top four between now and the end of the season.
Exactly. All he needs is that running games to get that rhythm going, because I agree with you. Every game I've seen him, he seems world-class, man. He seems extremely important to our midfield, not only going forward and defending, but just everything about his game really stands out to me. Now, and a lot of people call him a flop, but we won't get into that. He's just never healthy. He's never healthy. But everyone, I see some people starting to do it now. Leave your lineup predictions in the chat. We got about 8 minutes until that team news drops. So we'll go first. We got Callum here. Going Kelleher, Robertson, Kabak, Phillip with Trent, and then Thiago, Gini, Shaq. Okay, that doesn't surprise me. Shaq in the midfield as a prediction, but Mane, Firmino, Salah. What are you thinking about that one?
Not bad. I genuinely just want to see Thiago, Gini, and Naby, because I think that midfield three, well, especially Thiago and Naby in midfield together, I think that's content only seen on adult websites. It would be a very, very good midfield that going into this game. So I'd like to see that. Shaqiri, I wouldn't mind him in the midfield too much. As I say as well, Curtis Jones. Even if we see the Thiago, Gini, Curtis midfield again, I think Curtis Jones has been really in form at the minute, and he's been unlucky that he's not lasted 90 minutes in the last couple of games. He's been bought off too early, in my opinion. Right. So yeah. It's an interesting one. I'm really looking forward to seeing this lineup. I really am.
Yeah, me too. And I wouldn't be upset with Jones, with Keita, Gini, or Thiago. I honestly think the only thing that would surprise me, maybe upset me a little, but not really, would be if like Ox started in the midfield, which I doubt he will, obviously. But I'm just saying, anything else I could go with. This person, Callum, was saying Shaqiri. Wouldn't surprise me, but ideally, like you were saying, it's hard to drop Jones. You'd love to see a Thiago, Gini, Keita midfield. That's a dirty midfield. That is a really good midfield right there.
The Oxlade-Chamberlain one interests me because I think we saw where he is in the squad at the moment. We saw where he is in Klopp's plans against Leicester. Thiago hadn't trained that week. Milner goes off injured, and who does Klopp turn to? Thiago straight away. Ox was on the same bench. I think at the moment when we've seen Ox coming on since his injury, it's either been on the wing and it's been below par performances, or he's not been brought on. And it's an interesting one because Oxlade-Chamberlain, I think, is another one who's been doing so well. He did so well when he first came. He had that long-term injury that he picked up in the Champions League against Roma. And since then, he's had constant little niggling injuries that always come at the worst time for Ox. When he's coming into form, when he's getting a run of games in the starting 11, that's when he gets this injury, these injuries. And it's hurt him. But I don't think he has much longer at Liverpool. If I'm honest, I think he's one that we may look to move on in the summer.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. And the more the season goes on, and you're right, how I see Klopp use him, I think that as well. I think it would be good for him as well. Because when we brought him in at the time, he, like you said, he did a job for us. But he's one of those players like Keita, relies on rhythm, relies on a run of games, and he just hasn't gotten it because of long-term injuries. It's kind of like Lallana, Lallana played, but he always had those injury issues. But, let's see what else people are saying in the chat here. People talking about Kelleher. I love Kelleher. When he's played, he's been excellent. He's been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because Alisson has missed quite a number of games this season for little different reasons. I know today can't be helped, and as I said, he should take as long as he needs. As I say, there are more important things in life than football, and just love goes to his family and everyone right now, because what awful news that was earlier on in the week.
It was.
But it brings up a subjective conversation in whether Liverpool need to bring in a backup goalkeeper, because you look at Manchester United, where if De Gea's not available, they've got Dean Henderson. If both of them aren't available, they've got Sergio Romero. Chelsea, Kepa, I know, has been below expectations since moving to Chelsea, but he's the most expensive goalkeeper in the world. They've bought Mendy in as well, and he's been doing well for them. And it brings up a topic of conversation. Should Liverpool in the summer be looking to bring in a better number two? However, Kelleher this season, when he stepped up, there was a few issues with Adrian, but Kelleher, when he stepped up, he's done all right. He's got clean sheets. He was very good against Ajax, good against Wolves in the league straight after. And he's really working. Well, he's really worked his way up in the pecking order to now be our number two and work himself above Adrian. So it'll be interesting in the summer to see. It looks like Adrian's going. His contract's up in the summer. Will Liverpool bring in a better number two and Kelleher go on loan or become our number three, or Pitaluga step up? Will we bring someone in? It's going to be interesting to see what happens in that position in the summer.
Yeah, I think Pitaluga is still super young, right? He may be only 18. He might still be 17. But I think if anyone goes out on loan, it could be him. He might just stay with the younger sides and just get some game experience. I personally think Kelleher may be ready because he's not exactly super young. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, but isn't he like 22?
Yeah, he's still very young.
But he's not like a child. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's had my issue with Kelleher is he's not been tested yet. He's not had too much experience at first team level. Yep. And it worries me with how often we see Alisson out. As I say, put today aside because today is completely different, but we have seen in his time at Liverpool he does pick up a fair amount of injuries for a goalkeeper. And when you're constantly challenging for a league for the league, for me the goalkeeper position is the most important on the pitch, because if they make a mistake, as we've seen from Alisson in recent games, it hurts you more than anyone else on the pitch making a mistake. And, bringing in Alisson, a world-class keeper, helped us, win a Champions League, win a Premier League. It got us to that next step. So getting a really good number two in, I think, would be important for us. But, it's how good. And from what I've seen from Kelleher so far, I would be satisfied if he's our number two going into next season. And, I'm satisfied if he starts today. I think he'll have a good game.
Yeah, and see, I was feeling the same exact way as you. And Infield Jenna saying no Alisson or Kelleher today. Adrian to start in goal with 19-year-old. Oh, this is the Polish guy, I think, as the sub keeper. Okay, interesting. What are your takes on that as I pull up Twitter here and wait for the refresh?
It's a real interesting one. There'll be a few people not happy with that at all. Adrian should be up for it. He's been replaced as our number two. He'll want that back. It's as simple as that. And we don't know how long Alisson won't be available for, whether he'll be back for Chelsea or not. Adrian, it seems like Kelleher still isn't fully fit. So Adrian may have to fight for that position against Chelsea in midweek. So, Sheffield United aren't too good in front of goal. They've not been doing too well in front of goal this season. So I'm satisfied with Adrian. I'm just crossing all my fingers and everything that, he doesn't make a mistake today.
Hey, I'm with you right there. Everyone, we just got to get behind Adrian, honestly. I mean, it's just surprising to me. Our goalkeepers get injured super often. I know, like you said multiple times, we can't do anything about the Allison's family issues. But here is the lineup, Reds. We got Adrian, Alexander-Arnold with Phillips and Kabak. Love that back partnership right there. Robertson, Wijnaldum, Jones, Thiago. There it is. Can't drop Jones. I'm not mad about it. And then the typical front three, Mane, Salah, Firmino. With the subs on the bench, we got Keita, Ox, Milner, Shaqiri, Origi, Reece Williams, Nico Williams. How do you even pronounce the last name for the Polish keeper?
Orszynski.
Orszynski. Okay. And then Hughes. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, guys, thoughts in the chat on the lineup. I'm honestly, Jack, I'm not upset at all. I think it's a pretty strong lineup. The Adrian thing surprises me because I thought Kelleher was healthy.
Yeah, but bar the goalkeeper, I think it's the lineup most people would have expected. As I said, I think a few people are hoping that we saw Naby or Shaq in the midfield as well, just to help us break Sheffield United down. Excuse me. But, I think that midfield three, tried and tested, isn't it, recently? And Jones said is a bit undroppable at the moment with the performances he's been putting in. So, yeah, interesting lineup. My worry is that back four with Adrian behind them. That worries me slightly. But, in terms of the Premier League, Sheffield United are the best opposition to go up against with that back four because, as I say, in front of goal, they're not too good either. And it may be a confidence booster today. If we can go into this game and come out of this game with a clean sheet, with that back four, with Adrian in goal, I would be very, very satisfied. I really would.
Yeah, 100% with you. And I think the only problem I could see is honestly the confidence from that back line. And you touched on it as well with Adrian back there and a new back line, really, because I don't think, Phillips may have been subbed on, but with Phillips and Kabak starting next to each other, do they have the confidence to keep the clean sheet? And you touched on it as well. Going into this match against Sheffield United is the perfect game for these guys to really get their feet under them, partnership at the back. And hopefully for Adrian to, get back in the good graces of the fans. I think everyone should just, get behind Adrian. He's had some bad performances, but, what are we going to do? Both of our other keepers are out. Got to play Adrian. So this is the starting lineup for Sheffield United. Jack, you probably know way more about this than I do. You got Aaron Ramsdale, Ampadu, Jagielka, Bryan, Baldock, and Stevens out wide on those wing-back positions, and then Lundstrom, Norwood, Fleck, and then McBurney and McGoldrick up front. And then Brewster on the bench. Maybe they'll sub Brewster on against his old team. But, Jack, what are you thinking about their lineup?
Injury hit, isn't it, like we said before? Yeah. Brewster, I hope we don't see him on the pitch today because he's still not scored a goal for Sheffield United.
Right.
And it would just be absolutely typical for him to get his first goal against us. But, it's one of them. Hopefully, by the time we see him entering the pitch, the game's already been put to bed. But, yeah, it's one of them. You can tell by that lineup that they've been injury hit too. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting game. But I just cross all my fingers for a clean sheet, 3 points, and a good Liverpool performance that, eases our confidence a bit.
Yeah, I hear you. A lot of people, as soon as they saw Adrian, rightly so, everyone's just like not confident at all. They're like, they just, I feel sorry for him. There's Richard saying Sheffield United 0, Liverpool 2. A lot of people hate the lineup, but let's see what else we got in here. No Jota in the lineup. I think he's being safe for Chelsea. And look, I think that's the right decision, Jack. I'm not sure how you feel about it, but I think not having Jota in the lineup is exactly what we need. I mean, the fact that he didn't necessarily need to play against Midtjylland, he doesn't necessarily need to play in this game. Don't rush him back. Just let him rehab, right? Let the guys, this is a solid lineup. Let these guys go in and get the 3 points against Sheffield. Don't risk Jota.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I think everyone wanted to see Jota with the form we're in at the moment. We really have missed him. And I've said in recent weeks, Klopp is the last person to blame for what's going on at the minute and everything we're going through. But that is one thing Klopp got wrong. You know, it was a needless game in Denmark that Jota played, and you know we've been hurt by it. But there's been stuff over the last few weeks that initially Liverpool thought that Jota may have been out for the season when he picked up that knee injury. So, you know, to have him back now, I think we need to just take our time with him and hopefully have him back for that Chelsea game. You know, that'll be a big boost to go back into that Chelsea game with hopefully Jota and Fabinho back. I know Fabinho's not back in training yet, but to have them both available for Chelsea would be a huge boost ahead of the game. My worry about that back four is where the leadership's going to come from today. So, you know, I think Alexander-Arnold and Robbo really are going to need to step up in terms of that. But as I said, against Everton, Phillips and Kabak weren't too bad as a partnership. You know, it could have been worse. And I was impressed by Phillips that day. I thought he was defensively sound when he came on. So it's going to be a different task for them today against the Sheffield United side. But yeah, I'm hopeful. I really am.
I'm hopeful. I'm just excited. It's been a while. It's been like a week since we played last, or maybe one day more. But honestly, though, this is a valid question. Where is Tsimikas, dude? What? This man is a ghost. He's never in the lineup. I think he's made like one appearance or something.
It's interesting. I don't know if he's picked up another injury or what, but yeah, not on the bench again. An
crazy
signing clearly, but yeah, it's difficult to know where he is. There was that photo earlier on in the week with him and Thiago, where I think a few people have captioned it, "What have we done to him?" We didn't know who Tsimikas is, but yeah, God knows where he is, mate.
No, seriously. And I'm not sure if you're talking about this one, but you're talking about the one where he's like on signing day, there's a picture of him and then of him in training and just like age.
There was one him in training the other day and Tsimikas has his arm around him and Thiago just looks tired. And it's an interesting one. But yeah, is Davis on the bench? I didn't see Davis on there.
That's actually a great question. Let's go back here. I didn't see him either. No. Huh.
So
he's not on the bench.
It's
is Hughes? I don't recognize the name Hughes. Is Hughes a young center back or something?
Yeah.
Okay. So and then we got Milner, Keita, Shaqiri. So Reece Williams. Okay, I missed Reece Williams. So we have Reece Williams in there as well.
Yeah, I can see. I can't really see on the screen. I can see, you know, Naby's on there, which is good to see. Shaqiri as well. They might be game changers for us. Nico Williams, Reece Williams, but yeah, Hughes is a goalkeeper, I think.
Hughes is a goalkeeper. Okay,
yeah, you signed in the summer, I believe, not in the summer, in January. Sorry.
Okay, and you see, I tried to zoom in for you because I was like, yeah, that's pretty far away.
Yeah, but yeah, the first 11 I think was one of the strongest we could have gone for at the minute. But as you can see from our squad today, mate. Very, very severely struck by injuries, illnesses, you know, losses of family members. We're struggling at the minute, man.
Dude, it's all so unfortunate. It seems like it's all piling up at once. I mean, you have Klopp's mother, unfortunately, and then you have Allison's father. I mean, we are just getting hit with the worst string of luck right now. Like I've never seen it this bad. On top of all the injuries, right? Our captain goes down. He has surgery. He's out for probably the rest of the season. And then just everything, do you think it's affecting morale behind the scenes? And do you think that has led to the recent string of results? Or do you think it's just a combination of everything? Or is there one thing you can point out? What's your opinion on it? Because every fan, of course, has a different opinion.
I think it's a combination of multiple things, mate. You know, as I say, I think things aren't quite going right for us at the moment. We've had multiple injuries. And I think when you're in a spell like Liverpool are in at the minute after last season when we were winning game after game after game, and you know we got that label of mentality monsters. You know, I think we're struggling at the moment. I think it's also you know, the fact that this side has been consistently at the top of their game, one of the best sides in Europe for the last 3 seasons. We reached the Champions League final in Kiev. You know, then we went to Madrid the season after and won the Champions League. Then we got the points tally we got last year to win our first title in 30 years. To be consistently performing like that with the gegenpress, with the heavy metal football, I think with the lack of investment from FSG, I think at one point it was going to become very, very tough for them. And with the lack of pre-season, with COVID, with no fans in the stadium, there's just such a combination of multiple different reasons at the minute. And I hate when people point and say, look, Liverpool have loads of injuries, because it's not just the injuries. There is an accumulation of things that is why this Liverpool side isn't performing at the moment. But as I say, not getting top four this season would hurt us so much. We've gone into, like, financially, everything. Like, you look at Mohamed Salah, would we be able to keep him in the summer if we don't have top four? Raises an interesting question there. So, in a season where we've been hit money-wise anyway due to COVID, finishing outside the top four this year would be, a huge loss for this football club. So we need to turn it around, and fast.
Excellent points, honestly. Excellent points all around. I think this summer's crucial for investment in the club. I personally think, and James Pierce came out with a great article about this, we need to bring in maybe not a replacement at the moment, but at least another striker, center forward type player to fit in that Firmino spot. Origi just not really cutting it. And, all credit to Origi. We love Origi. He's a legend, but just currently he's getting subbed on. He's just not making that difference for us like he used to. And in terms of the back, we will have Gomez coming back. We will have Van Dijk coming back. I think, along with Ox that we discussed earlier in the show, I think we should probably sell Matip on as well. He is even worse with injuries than Ox, I think, in my opinion. It's constant with him. I don't know if it's the intensity of training, but if we sold on Matip, that would be good, because we did get him on a free, right? So we make some profit there. Bring in another center back. We did have Ben Davies. We do have that option to buy Kabak as well, so we'll see how the rest of the season goes. And then just get some squad players, right? Because if we said, like, we moved on Ox, like you were saying, we're definitely going to need to bring in another squad player. You do have Jones coming up through the ranks, and he's stapled his position in the side recently. If Keita stays healthy, there you go. But then you also got to think about Genie moving on. Milner isn't getting any younger, even though he could probably play every position for the rest of his life. But it's just one of those things. But today, just to kind of close it up here, I'm confident going in. But I think the question you brought up is probably the most important, the leadership at the back. Who's going to show that leadership? We know Genie is going to be captain in the side. I agree with that 100%. He was getting a lot of slander on Twitter for him being chosen the captain and not Trent or something like that. I mean, I just think Trent has captained the side before, but I just think Genie is the right choice with that. I think he's going to do great today, and let's just hope we come out with the 3 points, Jack. What are your closing thoughts, man?
Yeah, three points are huge today. They really are. We really need to turn around this poor form. We played the Merseyside derby last week, of course, lost at Anfield in that derby for the first time in my life. And it was a massive game for the top four too, because Everton are really pushing for that themselves this season. So we need to bounce back with 3 points today going into that Chelsea game. Like you say, I'm not too impressed by the bench, so I'm hoping that we get this game done by the first half. But the Origi one, the point you brought up about Origi is an interesting point, because he earned a cult hero status after what he did not last season but the season before, scoring that last second winner in the Merseyside derby, scoring in Madrid, the Barcelona game, of course, where he bagged the brace. But this season, I don't know if he's just not getting the game time he wants or what, but he's really not made any impact from the bench when we brought him on. And when we're not winning in games and we see Origi coming on, I don't think I'm the only one who's like, for fuck's sake. That's how we're feeling at the moment. But anyway, I feel like you're a bit of a Nat Phillips lookalike.
Dude, honestly, I can't even tell you how many times I get that. It's unbelievable.
But before he went bald, I think. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, he shaved his head. I noticed that. Maybe it's because he was watching. He was like, I can't look like that kid. I got to shave my head. Man. But yeah, that's crazy. I don't see it, but I get that more than anyone else. So that's pretty interesting. I'll just roll with it, because Nat Phillips is a freaking dog, man. I love it. Yeah. But guys, I appreciate everyone tuning in for the team news reaction. Make sure you go check out Craig. He's doing a live watch along as well. And subscribe to Nothing But Reds. There should be a link to the channel down in the description. Again, my name is Kyle, and Jack joined me today. Jack, absolute pleasure meeting you and having you on, man.
And you, mate. And you. Really good. Hopefully 3 points, mate. That's
all. Let's go, Reds. And then Till next time, guys. Take care.